Hello everyone, welcome to WebDev Warrior. In this video, we are going to build a real estate landing page from scratch. We are going to use Next.js 14, TypeScript and Tailwind CSS to build this project. Now, let me show you the full demo of this landing page. So first, if I refresh, you can see we have animation in our project. Then we have this navigation with hover effect and a login register button. Now here you can see we have a search box, and if I start scrolling, you can see we have scroll animation in our project. So here you can see we also have cool hover effect, we have scroll animation, then we have slider in our project. I'm going to show you how you can build this type of slider. Then you can see we have this amazing 3D type hover effect which looks amazing. Then we have clients review slider, and we have the block section, and finally we have this beautiful footer. And here you can see we have a button. So if I click here, it will go to the top. So you can see this feature is implemented almost all the website. So if I click here, it will go to the top smoothly. Next, the most important thing is this landing page is fully mobile responsive. So if I show you, so if I inspect and if I select a mobile devices, you can see the content fit perfectly. For the navigation bar, we have this sidebar which looks absolutely amazing, and you can see the animation which is great. Now if I scroll, you can see all the sections are fit perfectly in mobile devices. The slider works perfectly, and you can see everything fit perfectly and looks amazing. Now if I show you another type of devices like iPad mini, you can see in iPad mini our project is perfect. It looks amazing. So our website is fully mobile responsive. In this video, I am going to teach you everything from scratch. So I encourage you to watch the full tutorial, and the starter file and the source code of this landing page will be given in the description. If you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe our channel for more interesting web development project. Now, without wasting our time, start building this project. So now I am going to set up the project. So for this, I am going to create a new folder inside my PC, and I am going to name it real estate YT. And then I am going to open this with Visual Studio Code. And then in Visual Studio Code, I am going to open a new terminal here, and then I am going to install Next.js. So for this, I am going to use npx create next app @latest, and then I'm going to add a dot slash so that all the packages are installed in this folder. So I'm going to hit enter. Now it asked me, would you like to use TypeScript? Yes, we are going to use TypeScript. We are going to use ESLint. We are going to use Tailwind CSS. We do not need the source directory, and we are going to use app router, and we do not need to customize our default import alias. Now it will install all the packages. So let's wait some time to complete the installation. The installation is completed. Now first go to your tailwind.config.ts, and here remove the extend part because we do not need this, and then go to your app folder. So this is the main directory, and first go to your global.css. This is the global CSS file, and here remove all of this because we are going to start from scratch, and hit save, and then go to your page.tsx, and this is the main page. So when you go to the localhost 3000, this page will appear. So I'm going to remove all of the content, and I'm going to use rafc a shortcut to create component boilerplate, and I'm going to name this home page. And if you want to use the shortcut, you have to install a extension. So the extension is this one, ES7 React Redux React Native Snippet. So if you install this extension, you can use the shortcut. Now here I'm going to add some Tailwind classes to check if our Tailwind is working or not. So I'm going to use text 7xl and hit save, and then I'm going to start our project using npm run dev. Now if I go to a browser and go to the localhost 3000, you can see we have our bigger text. That means our Tailwind is working properly. So now let's remove this class name because we do not need this. And next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the layout.tsx. So this is the overall layout page. For example, if you add a navbar here and a footer here, this navbar and footer will be attached to all the page you are going to create in this project. So this is the overall layout. And here what I am going to do is I am going to customize our font. So here you can see Next.js 14 already have integration with Google Font. So we do not need to do anything external to get the Google Font. And here you can see it's import inter from interfont to here. So we are not going to use the inter font. We are going to use Roboto. So you can just start writing here and it will give you a suggestion. So I'm going to use Roboto, and here I'm going to change the constant name to font, and here I'm going to use Roboto, and then we have to pass some parameter. First one is weight, font weight. So we are going to use 100, 300, 400, 500, 700, and finally 900. And we have to pass another one which is subset, and this one will be Latin. And here we're going to change it to inter.classname to font.classname. Next what we are going to do is we are going to change the metadata, and the metadata is very important for the SEO. So here for the title I am going to give real estate project Next.js, and for the description for now let's say real estate website using Next.js. So that's it, that's our metadata. Now if I go, and here you can see we have our metadata. It's a real estate project and Next.js, and we have our Roboto font. Next we need icons in our website. So for the icon we are going to use a npm library which is React Icons. Now if I go to their npm package, here you can see they have the details documentation, so you can run here. They have different types of icon library like front awesome, icons for material design icons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy their npm script, and then I'm going to split the terminal and paste the npm command to install React icons in our project. Next, in the public I am going to create a folder and I'm going to name it images. So we need some images in our website. So for now I'm going to copy the images and all of these images are given in the starter file, and the starter file is in the description. So when you download the starter file, you will get all the images. So I'm going to copy it and paste it here. So this is the sum of the images that we are going to use. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a components folder, and inside this component folder I am going to first create a helper folder and then a home folder. So in the helper folder we are going to create some useful helper component, and in home folder first I am going to create a home.tsx, and I am going to use rfc to create the component boilerplate. And in this home component we are going to add all our homepage related component, and then finally when we add all of the homepage related component we are going to add this in our page. So here we are going to add our home. So this homepage component will be clean, and all the homepage related other components will be added in this home component. Next, what I am going to do is I am going to create a data folder, and here I am going to create a data.ts, and inside this data.ts I am going to paste some static data that we are going to use in our website. So I prepared a static data file for you to use in our website. So let me copy the content here. So let me paste the data here. So these are the data we're going to use. So these are basically the static data that I prepared for you. So you can customize it later if you want. So here you can see we have some apartment data, we have properties data, and we have cities data. This is basically an array of object. So throughout this project we are going to use this data. Now let me go to our website. So for now we just have the text home. So this is the basic setup of our project. Now let's build the navbar. So if I show you the navbar, here you can see we have logo, we have some nav links and a login register button. And if I start scrolling, you can see the navbar changes background color. So initially it doesn't have any background color, but when I start scrolling, it changes background color. So now we are going to build the navbar. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it navbar. And inside this navbar, first I'm going to create a nav.tsx. So in this folder, in this component, we're going to create the desktop navigation bar, and I'm going to use rafc to create the component boilerplate. Then I'm going to create another component which is mobile nav.tsx. This one is for the mobile navigation bar. I'm going to use rafc to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to create another one which is responsive nav, and this one is for the logic for making the navbar responsive. So we are going to use nav responsive nav.tsx, and I'm going to use rafc to create the component boilerplate, and inside this responsive nav I'm going to add our nav and also mobile nav. Now we are going to add this responsive nav in layout folder. So in layout file, and by adding it in layout file, the navbar will be attached to all of the pages that you are going to create. So here I'm going to use responsive nav. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have mobile nav, and this home is for home page. Now first let's go to the nav.tsx, And here for the first div we have a class name of fixed. Height will be 10 vh. Then we have set index 100. Width will be full. We are going to use a transition because in future we are going to add some animation here. So transition all, and we have duration of 200 milliseconds. We are adding the transition because in future we are going to implement the feature where user starts scrolling, the navbar will change its background color, and the change will be in a smooth way. That's why we are using the transition. Then inside this nav we are going to have another div, and in this div we are going to use a class name of flex. Items will be centered, height will be full, justify will be between, and width will be 95%. In small devices width will be 90%, and in extra large devices width will be 80%, and mx will be auto. And inside this div we're going to first have our logo. So logo, and here we have a div with class name of flex. Items will be centered and SpaceX will be 2. Now inside this div we have another div, and this div have a class name of in medium screen width will be 10, in medium screen height will be 10, and in extra small we have width of 7 and height of 7. Rounded will be full, background will be rows 700, and text will be white. It will be flex. Items will be center, justify will be center, and flex will be in column direction. And inside this we have an icon, and the icon will be fa house, and this one will be coming from React icons that we installed. So you can see it's import fa house icons from React icons. fa6 means font awesome icon. Now if I hit save, now you can see we have our logo, and then after this tip we have a h1 with the text home hub, and this h1 will have a class name of text white, font will be bold, text small, and smaller devices text will be base, and medium screen text will be pixel. Now if I hit save, so it's not showing because its color is white. For now let me give a default background color for our navbar. So let's add bg black. Now if I hit save, so here you can see we have our home hub text, and this looks very nice as a logo. So after the logo we have nav links. So we have home, listing, property, blog, contact. So what I am going to do is, here I am going to create a constant. So const nav links, and this one will be array of object with id of 1, url for now it will be hash, and a label. So for the first one the label will be home, and I'm going to copy it. Let's see, we have 1 2 3 4 5, so 5 times. So I'm going to copy it 4 more times. So the second one is listing, then the third one is, let's see what else we have, property, block, contact. So this one is property, then we have block, and finally we have contact. So here, now this is the nav links array. So here we have all the nav links. The cool thing is that here you can add more in the future if you want. Now what I'm going to do is, after the logo, here we'll have our nav links. So we have a div, and inside this div we're going to map through our nav links. So nav links dot map, and we will get a individual nav link, and we're going to return a link which is coming from next link. And first we have to pass the key. The key will be nav links, not nav links, nav link dot id, and the href will be nav link dot url. Now inside this link we have a p tag with nav links, nav link dot label, and the p tag will have a class name of, font will be medium, in hover the text will be YOLO 300. Now if I hit save, and if I go to our project, here we have something missing, that is, in this div we're going to add a class name of flex, items will be center, SpaceX will be 14, then we have text of white, and it will be hidden, and it will be flex in the large screen. So now if I hit save, here you can see we have our home, listing, property, blog, and contact. Next we have this login and register button. So after the nav links we have login, and we have a burger menu here. So the burger menu is for mobile navbar. So by clicking this burger menu we are going to show the sidebar, and here we have a div with class name of flex, items will be center, and SpaceX will be 4. And inside this div, first we have the login button. So here we have a div with class name of flex, items will be center, cursor will be pointer, rounded will be full, and text will be white, SpaceX will be 2, and in hover the text will be rows 400, and we do not need the rounded here. And then we have transition all, and duration will be 200 milliseconds. And inside this div we first have a user icon, so if a user circle, and this one will have a class name of width will be 5 and height will be 5, and then we have a p tag with the text login slash registration register, and this p tag will have a class name of font will be bold, text will be extra small, and in small and large devices text will be base. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our login register button. Next we have the burger button, so burger menu. And here we are going to use a icon which is high bars, and all the icon are coming from the React icons. So bottom right icons, and this one will have a class name of in small and large devices width will be 8, and small and large devices height will be 8, otherwise width will be 6 for less than the small devices, and height will be 6, cursor will be pointer, text color will be white. And now if I hit save, here you can see we have our burger menu, but this will be hidden, and in the mobile view this one will show up. So let's go to our code, and in large screen it will be hidden. Now if I hit save, now as you can see it's gone, and if I inspect, you can see in mobile devices it appeared to the screen, and the nav links is hidden in mobile view. Next what we are going to do is, here you can see when I start scrolling it changes background color. So now we are going to implement this feature. So for this, let's go to your project, and in the page for the div, for now I'm going to give a height so that we have the scroll bar. So let's give it 2000 pixels. Now if I hit save, now you can see we have the scroll options. Now let's go to your nav, and here at the top we're going to use a state variable, but here in nextjs all the components are server component, and in server component you cannot use state, use effect, or any other hooks. So if you want to use hooks you have to convert your component a client component. So how can you convert your component a client component? You can convert it by using a use client directive at the top. Now you can use your state variable. So now if I use const navbg and set navbg, this one will be use state, and initially it will be false. And now let's say you don't convert your component a client component, and if I hit save, here you can see we have error. So you can see we have error. So we need to convert this into a client component to use the hooks. Now if I hit save, now you can see the error is gone. Now here we have the navbg and set navbg, and then we're going to use effect. And the dependencies array, and inside this use effect I'm going to create a function called handler, and this one will be an arrow function, and here we are going to check if window dot scroll y, so scroll in the y direction is greater than or equal to 90 pixel. In that case we are going to set our navbg to true, and if window dot scroll y, so scroll in the y direction is less than 90, then we are going to set our navbg to false. So we are going to show it when we scroll 90 pixel, and then we are going to use window dot add event listener. So in the window we are going to adding a event listener, and we are going to listen for a scroll event, and we are going to call the handler function, and then we are going to add a cleanup function using return. So we are going to return a function with this one, but we're going to remove the event listener in cleanup function. So remove event listener. Now if I hit save, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to conditionally set the background here. So for this I'm going to make this class name dynamic using the curly braces and template literal, and then here we're going to check. So if we have navbg true, so if it is true, then we are going to add a background of bg gray 800. Otherwise we don't add anything if the navbg is not true. Now if I, for now let's remove this dummy background. If I hit save, now you can see, so first let's refresh the page, and if I start scrolling you can see the background change. So this is amazing. So for now I am going to add the default background color. Let's add the bg gray 700 for now, and let's remove the scrolling for now. So in the page let's remove this. So our nav for the desktop version is ready. Now we are going to work on the mobile navbar. So when we click the burger menu, it will open a sidebar which is our mobile navigation bar. So for this, go to your mobile nav, and in the mobile nav, inside this div, first we have a overlay. So here we have a div with class name of transform. We are using transform because in future we are going to add some transform related properties here to slide the overlay and slide the nav sidebar, so that's why I'm using the transform. And then we're going to use fixed and transition all. We're going to use transition because we're going to animate it in sliding, so we want the sliding will be smooth. That's why we are using transition all. And duration will be 500 millisecond, and then inset will be 0, z index will be 1000, and background will be black, opacity will be 70, and width will be full, height will be screen. Now if I hit save, so you can see we have our black overlay. So after this we have our nav links. So for this, let's export this one so we can use it. So export const nav links so that we can use this nav links in our mobile navbar also. So here we have another div with class name of text will be white. We're going to again use transform here because we are also going to add some transform related property later. And then transition because we are going to animate these nav links. So transition on, duration will be 500 millisecond, and here we're going to use a delay of 300 milliseconds. The idea is first the overlay comes to the screen, and after 300 millisecond delay the nav links will be visible, and this looks very nice. So if I show you in the deployed version, so if I click here, you can see first the overlay slides and then this main nav links slides in, so which looks amazing. So we're going to achieve this in our website. So inside this div we have our nav links, and we're going to map through it. So let's copy it from nav. So here, so copy this and paste it here and import the link. And here we need some more classes to delete 300. This one will be fixed. Then we are going to use flex. Justify will be center, and flex will be in the column direction. Height will be full, width will be 80%, and then we have in small and large devices width will be 60%, and background will be hash C1 205E. And then we have space, y will be 6, and z index will be 10,000. And if I hit save, so here we have error because we don't have the nav links here. So let's import it from our nav links. And now if I hit save, So here we have some error. So what I'm going to do is I am going to create a folder and I'm going to name it constant, and here I'm going to create a file called constant.ts, and in this folder I'm going to copy the nav links constant. So cut it from here and then add this to constant and hit save, and in the nav import it from our constant. So nav links, it will coming from our constant in mobile. So remove this and we are going to import it from our constant. Now if I hit save, now I think it will work. And here we have some extra classes for our p tag. So we have text of 20 pixel, margin left will be 12, border will be 1.5 pixel, padding bottom will be 1, width will be fit, border will be white, and in small and large devices text will be 30 pixel. Now if I hit save, so here we have some error. So nav links is not defined, but we already define it. So in the nav we have to save this file. So now it's working. So let's save the mobile nav. Now if I go here, so here you can see we have our nav links, but it not looks good. So we have some issue here. So this one will be border bottom 1.5 pixel. Now if I hit save, now it looks amazing. So if I show you the deployed one, it looks like this one, which looks very nice. Next we have a cross icon here to close the navbar. So for this, after the nav links we have close button, and here we're going to use a icon which is cg close, and this one will have a class name of absolute, top will be 0.7 RAM, right will be 1.4 RAM, and smaller devices width will be 8, smaller devices height will be 8, and width will be 6 for extra small, and height will be 6 for extra small, and text will be white. Now if I hit save and let's refresh. So here this button will be inside this tip. So now if I hit save, so here you can see we have our close icon. Now what we are going to do is we are going to add the functionality for the responsive navbar to open and close the sidebar. So for this I'm going to open the responsive navbar, and we're going to convert this into a client component using use client, because we are going to use state here. So first I'm going to create a state variable here for show nav, and set show nav, and initially it will be false. And then I am going to create two functions. One is so const open nav handler, and this one will be an arrow function that set our show nav to true. And we have another one which is hide, or let's say close nav handler, and this one will be set our show nav to false. Now we are going to pass this in our nav and mobile nav. So in the nav we are going to pass open nav function, which is open nav handler, and in the mobile nav we are going to pass show nav, which is show nav, and we are going to pass close nav function, which is close nav handler. Now we have to receive these props and give them the proper type definition. So first go to the nav, and here we're receiving a type props, and we're receiving a close nav, which is a function that return void. Now let's add the props here. So props, and we're going to import the not close nav, this one will be open nav, sorry for that, open nav, and we are receiving open nav here. And then let's check again what we are passing here. So we are passing open nav. So when we click on the burger menu, so in this button when we click, we are going to open our nav. Hit save, and then go to the mobile nav. In mobile nav we are receiving a type props, and we're receiving show nav, which is type of boolean, and we're receiving a close nav function, which is a function that returns void. Now we are going to add this here, the props, and we'll get the close nav and show nav. So first when we click on the close button, so on click we're going to close the nav, and next based on this show nav we're going to show the sidebar or hide the sidebar. So here I'm going to create a constant, and I'm going to name it nav opened, and this one will be if show nav is true, then we're going to translate x to 0. That means we are going to show the sidebar. Otherwise we're going to use translate x of minus 100%. That means we are going to remove this from our screen. So now I'm going to hit save. Then I'm going to add this in overlay. So I'm going to make this a template literal, and then we're going to snap open, and same for this snap link. So make this a template literal format, and remove the double quote and add the nav open here. Now if I hit save, and if I go to our project, and if I click here, let's refresh the page, And if I click here, it's open the navbar with smooth sliding animation, which is awesome. Now if I click here, you see it's closing the navbar. So open the navbar and closing the navbar, and that looks amazing. So our navbar is working perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this demo background color, because in our deployed version initially our navbar have no background color. So let's go to the code, and here you can see we have a demo background color of PGK700. I'm going to remove this and hit save. Now the background is gone and the navbar is not looking good, but when we start building the hero section, it will looks amazing. So for now our navbar is completed. Now we are going to build the hero section. So if I show you the hero section, you can see we have a background image and we have a black overlay, some text content and a search box. So we are going to build this now. So to build this, I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it hero. And inside this, I'm going to create a hero.tsx file, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside my home component. So here inside this div, I'm going to add our hero component. And also here for the first div, we have a class name of overflow hidden. So we don't want any overflow in our website. Now if I go here, you can see the text is changed to hero. Next, what I'm going to do is for the first div in hero component, we have a class name of width will be full, padding top will be 4vh, in medium screen padding top will be 12vh, height will be screen, background will be hash 0f0715, then we have overflow of hidden, we have a relative positioning, and we are going to add a background of URL, and here inside this first bracket we're going to add our image URL. So this one will be slash images slash hero.jpg, and then we're going to add background will be cover and background will be center. Now if I hit save, and now you can see we have our beautiful background image. Next we need the black overlay. So for this, after and inside this div we are going to add our black overlay. So here we have a div with class name of absolute. So we're going to make this absolute positioning. Inset will be 0, background will be black, and opacity will be 70. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have a beautiful black overlay in our background image. So after the overlay we have the content. So here we have the content. So first we have a div with class name of flex, justify will be center, items will be center, flex will be in the column direction, width will be 95%, and in small and large devices width will be 80%, and height will be full, mx will be auto, this one will be relative, and z index will be 10. So Z10. And now inside this div we have h1 with the text the best way to, and this h1 will have a class name of text will be white, text opacity will be 80, text will be center, text size will be base, and small devices and large screen text will be LG. This one will be uppercase and font will be medium. Now if I hit save, that you can see we have the text the best way. So just like this one. Then we have this heading. So I'm going to copy this, and after the h1 we have another h1. Inside this we have this find your dream home text, and this h1 will have a class name of text of center, text center, font will be semi bold, text 3XL, and small and large screen text will be 5XL, and text color will be white, margin top will be 4. Now if I hit save, now you can see we have our title, find your dream home. Next we have this text, so I'm going to copy this, and after the heading we have a p with this text, and this p will have a class name of margin top of 4. Then we have text of center, text will be small, and small devices and large screen text will be base, and text will be gray 200. Now if I hit save, so here you can see we have our text. So this looks just like this one, the deployed one. Next we have this search box. So for the search box I am going to create a reusable component, separate component, so that we can manage our hero section easily. So here after the p we have another div with class name of margin top will be 12 and width will be full. Now inside this we are going to create a search box. So for this, in the helper I am going to create a helper component which is search box dot tsx, and I'm going to use rfc to create the component boilerplate. And then in the hero section inside this div we are going to have our search box. Now if I hit save, here we don't see anything. Let's go to the search box, and let's start building this. Now here for the first div we have a class name of width will be full, in medium screen width will be 80%, mx will be auto, background will be white, height will be 4 rem, in smaller devices height will be 5 rem, flat px will be 4, in small and large screen px will be 8, flex will be in column direction. Then we have justify center, and rounded will be LG. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our box which looks amazing. Then inside this div we have another div with class name of flex. Items will be center and justify will be between, height will be full. Now then inside this div we first have a input of type text and the placeholder will be enter an address city or zip to buy, and then we have a class name of in small flex will be 0.8, height will be 60%, then we have background will be gray 100, it will be block, rounded will be LG, outline will be none, px will be 4, then we have placeholder, so placeholder text will be small. Now if I hit save, so here you can see we have a input box with the placeholder, and if I start typing you can see everything is looks nice. So after the input, we have another div with class name of flex. Items will be center, flex will be 0.2, margin left will be 8, SpaceX will be 6. Then inside this div we have another div with class name of in large screen flex. It will be hidden in small devices, and large screen it will be flex. Items will be center and cursor pointer and SpaceX. Now inside this div we first have an icon which is high adjustment horizontal, and then we have a p tag with the text advanced. Now the icon will have a class name of text gray 700, and width will be 6, height will be 6, and the p tag will have a class name of text gray 700, font will be semi bold. Now if I hit save, so here you can see we have this icon and the text advanced just like this one. Now we need this search button, so let's go to our code. So after this div we have another div with class name of width will be 12, height will be 12, pg will be rows 600, flex. Items will be center, in hover bg will be rows 600, no, bg will be rows 800, and we're going to use transition all, duration will be 150 millisecond, cursor will be pointer, justify will be center, and text wide, rounded, full. Now inside this div we have a icon which is fa search, which is coming from React. Now if I hit save, As you can see, we have our search icon which looks amazing. So everything looks like the deployed version. Now if I show you the responsiveness, here you can see, if I select a mobile view, you can see everything fit perfectly. We have our sidebar and our search bar fit perfectly. If I show you in the iPad version, it also looks very nice. So our hero section is completed. Next we are going to build the apartment type section. So if I show you, here you can see we have explore apartment types and we have some apartment type card. Now to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home folder and I'm going to name it apartment type, and inside this I'm going to create a file called apartment type.tsx, and then I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside my home. So here after the hero I'm going to use apartment type. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have the text apartment type. Next go to your apartment type, and for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and if I hit save, and then inside this div we have another div with class name of width will be 80%, mx will be auto. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a component for our section heading. So if I show you the deployed version, here you can see we have some section heading in every section, and you can see they are almost same. So that's why I'm going to create a reusable component so that we can reuse it. So for this I'm going to create a new component in helper, and I'm going to name it section heading.tsx. I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate. The section heading will receive a props which is a heading, and it is a type of string. Now I'm going to pass it here as a props and get the heading. Now inside this div we are going to have a each one with heading, and then we have another p tag with a short subheading. So here I am going to use some random text, but if you want you can receive another props like heading 2 and pass this subheading, but I am going to use this dummy heading subheading here, so I am not going to receive it as a props. Now if you want to generate random text, you need to install a extension which is lorem ipsum generator. So if I show you, so this is the extension that I use to generate random text, which is lorem ipsum. Now let's go to our code, and for the first div we have a class name of text to excel in small and large screen. Text will be 3XL, font will be bold, then we have margin bottom of 2 and text gray 800, and for the p tag we have a class name of text small, text gray 700. Now if I hit save, and now let's go to your apartment type, and then inside this div we are going to add a section heading, and we are going to pass the props heading, and this one will be apartment type. Now if I hit save, so apartment type, now if I go here, you can see we have our section heading, which looks very nice. Next, after this, inside this div, what we are going to do is we're going to define another div with a class name of grid. Grid calls will be 1. In small devices, grid calls will be 2. And in medium screen, grid calls will be 3. And in large screen, grid calls will be 4. And in extra large, grid calls will be 5. And margin top will be 10, and in medium screen and large screen margin top will be 20. Gap will be 8, and finally we have items of center. And inside this div, what I am going to do is I am going to use apartment type data. So if I go to the data.ts, here you can see we have a apartment type data where we have id, icon, type and number. And in icon we define our image source, so images slash a1.png. So we're going to use this apartment type data. So let's go to your apartment type, and inside this div we are going to use apartment type data, and we are going to map through it, and we are going to get a type, and then I'm going to return a div, and we are going to pass the key which is type dot id, and then and here I am going to add a apartment type card component. So for every individual type we are going to show a individual apartment type card. That's why I am going to create a reusable component so we do not repeat it again and again. So here I am going to create a apartment type card.tsx. I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then here for every type we are going to render apartment type card. So first let's go here, save it, and here it will be apartment type card, and then here we are going to pass the type as the props, which is type. Now we have to give the proper type in our apartment type card component. So one trick is if I hover over it will give you the type. So let's copy this thing and then go to your apartment type card, and here we are going to define a type props which will be a object type that contains id, icon, type and number. Now I'm going to pass the prop here, and then here I'm going to import the type. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have apartment card 5 times because we have 5 data. And if I show you the deployed version, here you can see we have an icon, some text in the card and hover effect. So let's go to the apartment card, and for the first day we have a class name of rounded lg, then we have shadow lg, padding will be 6, in hover scale will be 110, then we have transition of all and duration 300 milliseconds. Now inside this div what we have is a image, and this image is coming from next image, and the source will be type dot icon, and the alt will be type dot type, and width will be 50, height will be 50, and if I hit save, here you can see we have our card with hover effect and also the icons. Next, after the image, we have a div with class name of margin top of 12, and then inside this div we have a h1, and here we have type dot type, and then we have a p with type dot number, and then the text properties. And for the first h1 we have a class name of text lg, and font will be bold. And for the p we have a class name of margin top of 2, text will be small, text color will be gray, 800. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have our card which looks very nice, just like the deployed one, so like this one, and this looks very nice. We have the hover effect, and let's make it 700. I think it will look good. So now it's looking good, and let me check the responsiveness here. And if I select a iPhone devices, you can see the card fit perfectly with the screen size. And if I select a iPad devices, in iPad you can see it's also fit perfectly. So our apartment type section is completed. Next we are going to build the property section. So let me show you the property section. So here you can see we have discovered our property where we have some property card with cool hover effect. Now we are going to build this section. So for this I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it properties, and inside this I'm going to create a file called properties.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside our home component. So in home, after the apartment type, we're going to add our property section. So properties. Now if I hit save, and if I go to our project, here you can see we have our text properties. Now go to your property component, and for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, background will be gray 100, and inside this div we have another div with class name of width will be 80%, mx will be auto. Now inside this div we first have our section heading, so we're going to use our section heading component, and the heading will be discover our properties. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our section heading. So after the section heading we have another div with class name of margin top will be 10, and in medium and large screen margin top will be 20. Then we're going to use grid calls will be 1, and in medium screen grid calls will be 2, and in extra large grid calls will be 3, and gap will be 10, items will be center. And inside this div we are going to use our properties data. So here you can see I prepared some properties data for you where we have ID, property name, location, bedroom, bathroom, size, price, and image URL. So here we have 6 of this, and if you want you can customize this, you can use your own. So let's use this in our properties section. So inside this div I am going to use properties from our data folder, and I'm going to use map. I'm going to get individual property, and then I'm going to return a div, and the div will have a key of property.id. So property.id, and then inside this div I'm going to create a property card component. So if I show you, so this card will be one property card. So I'm going to use a component to create this card. So let's create a component here called property card.tsx, and I'm going to use rfc to create the component boilerplate. And then for every property we're going to show a property card component. So property card, and here we're going to pass a props property, which is the property object. So property, now we have to receive these props and give them the proper type. So I'm going to hover here and this will give me the type. So let's copy this and then go to the property card section, and here we're going to use a type props, and props will be property which is an object that contains these properties: id, number, property name, string, and all of this. Now I'm going to use this in our component, so prop, and receive the property. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have property card text. Now for the first div in the property card we have a class name of background will be white, overflow will be hidden, and then we have group and rounded will be LG, and cursor will be pointer, and shadow will be LG. So we use this group for the hover. So in the deployed version, if you see, when I hover here, the image is increasing, and you can see also the title have a underline. So that's why I am using a hover in all over the card, and when I hover all over the card, this element will get hovered. Now inside this div I have another div with class name of relative. Then inside this div we have an image which is coming from next image, and the source will be property.image, property.image URL. The alt will be property.property name, and width will be 300, height will be 300. Then we have class name of width full, object will be cover. Then we have group hover, so when we hover on the card the image will scale to 110, and then transition all, and duration will be 300 milliseconds. Now if I hit save, and go to our project. Here you can see we have the image, and if I hover you can see this beautiful hover effect which looks amazing. Next we have this box and this price section, and for this let's go here and inside this tab. So after the image we have h1 with class name of px will be 6, it will be absolute, bottom will be 4, left will be 4, and then we have py will be 1.5, text will be small, background will be black, width will be fit, text color white, and rounded LG. Now inside this h1 we have a span, and the span have a class name of text base and font bold, and the span will have first a dollar sign and then property dot price, and after this span we have a slash and then mo. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the price. So this one is 45,000 per month, and this one is 50,000 per month. So this looks very nice, just like this one. Next what we have, this featured box. So after the h1 we have another div with class name of flex, items will be center, SpaceX will be 1, px will be 6, this one will be absolute, top will be 4, left will be 4, then we have py of 2, text will be small, bg will be row 600, and width will be fit, text will be white, rounded medium, and font bold. Now inside this tab we have a icon which is md electric bolt, and then we have a text. So I'm going to use span and the text will be featured. Now if I hit save, so now you can see we have this featured text box just like this one. So next we have this heading, the location, bed, bath, and the size. So let's go to the code. So now after this div we have another div with class name of p5, and inside this div we have a h1 with the property dot property name, and this h1 have a class name of margin top of 4, and in group over we have underline, text will be gray 900, and font bold, text large. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the text just like this one. Let's, here we have text of LG. So after font bold we have text of large. Now if I hit save, now it looks good just like this one. Next we have the location. So after the h1 we have a p with properties property dot location, and this p have a class name of text will be small, text will be green 500, and margin top will be 3. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the location, and then what we have after the p we have another div with class name of flex, items will be center, margin top will be 6, justify will be between, width will be full, and in large screen width will be 80%. And inside this div we have another div with class name of flex, items will be center, SpaceX will be 2, and here we have an icon. So for the first one we have a bed icon, and this have a class name of text rows 500, and then we have the text. So we have a p, and the text will be property dot bedrooms, and this age have a class name of text extra small, and text will be gray 600. Now if I hit save, so here you can see we have bed icon and we have one, so just like this one. Next what we have is I'm going to copy this one, and the second one will be the bath icon. So if a bath, and this one will be property dot bathrooms, and we have another one, and this one will be if a square, and the text will be property dot size. Now if I hit save, so this not look good like this one. So let's see what's the problem here. So here we have a space, so let's save, and after the bedroom we have beds text, and after the bathroom we have bath, and after the size we have sqrt. Now if I hit save, now it looks good just like the deployed version. So this looks very nice. Next what we have is this line. So let's go to the code, and after this div we have another div with class name of width will be full, height will be 1.2 pixel, and then we have margin top of 4, margin bottom of 4, background will be gray 500, then we have opacity of 15, and if I hit save, here you can see we have our line, and finally we have this text for rent and then some icons. So after this div we have another div with class name of flex, items will be center, and justify will be between. Then inside this div we have a h1 with the text rent, for rent, and this h1 will have a class name of text extra small. Then we have text gray of 600, and after this we have another div with class name of flex item center, and we have SpaceX of 4, text of gray 500, and inside this div we have some icons. So first one is bi link external, then we have bs plus square, and then we have bs heart. Now if I hit save, so here you can see we have our text for rent, and then we have this icon, and the full card is looks very nice. We have the hover effect and everything is like the deployed one. So now let me show you the responsiveness of this component. So here in the iPad mini you can see it fit perfectly. We have two cards, and if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it also fit perfectly. So our property section is completed. Now we are going to build the city property slider. So if I show you, here you can see we have explore city properties with this beautiful slider, and you can see in every picture at the top we have some description of the city and the available properties. Now we are going to implement this beautiful slider. So for this, first I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I am going to name it city properties, and inside this I am going to create a file called cityproperties.tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside my home folder. So city properties. Now if I hit save and go to the project, you can see we have this text city properties. Now go to your city property component, and for the first div we have a class name of padding top will be 16, padding bottom will be 16, and then inside this div we have another div with class name of width will be 80%, and then mx will be auto. Then we have section heading, and inside this we have the heading of explore city properties. Now if I hit save and go to the project, as you can see we have our section heading. Next what we have is another div, and this div have a class name of margin top of 10, margin in medium screen, and large screen margin top will be 16. And inside this div I am going to create a slider component where we configure our slider. So let's create a city slider, city slider dot tsx, and I am going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I am going to add this here. So inside this div we are going to have city slider. Now if I hit save and if I go to the browser, here you can see we have the text city slider. Now for the slider, we are going to use a npm package, and the npm package we are going to use is React multi carousel. And if I go to their npm page, you can see they have documentation here. You can learn more about this package, and they also have the demo. So for now, I'm going to copy their npm script to install it, and here I'm going to paste it and hit enter. And now if I go here, you can see first what we need to do is we need to import this carousel and react multi-carousel /lib/style.css. So we need the styling for this. So I'm going to copy this, and in the city slider at the top, I'm going to paste it and hit save. Next, what we need is we need this responsive breakpoint. So I'm going to copy this, and here at the top I'm going to paste it, and here we are going to configure some of this. So first, in the desktop, the breakpoint will be max 3000 and min will be 1324, and we are going to show 4 items, and one item will be slide. So slides to slide will be 1. In tablet, the max will be 1324 and minimum will be 764. And here we want 2 items to show, and we're going to use one slide to slide. And in mobile devices, the max will be 764 and min will be 0, items will be 1, and slides to slide will be 1. So that's it. Now here, instead of this div, I'm going to use carousel. So carousel, and inside this carousel we are going to pass some properties. First one is arrows. Arrows will be true. Then we have autoplay will be true. Then autoplay speed will be 5000 milliseconds, that means 5 seconds. So after 5 seconds the slider will automatically slide. And we have infinity, and then responsive will be our responsive variable. And inside this div, so inside this carousel, let's say we have a div for now. And another thing is we have to convert this into a client component to use the package. So I'm going to make it use client and convert it to a client component. Now inside this carousel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our data folders data. So here if you go, you can see we have a cities data, and what we have in this data, we have an array of object, and the object contains an ID, a image, URL, the city name, and number of properties. If you want, you can customize this. So we're going to use this information. So let's go to the city slider, and here we're going to use cities data, and we're going to map through it. We will get an individual city, and we are going to return a div, and the key will be city.id, and inside this we are going to create another reusable component, which is city slider card. So for every image we are going to show a individual card. So for this I am going to create a new component here, city card.tsx, and I'm going to use refc to create the component boilerplate. And then for every city we're going to show a city card, and we're going to pass the prop city, and it will be the city object. And now we have to receive these props and give them the proper type definition in the city card. So I'm going to copy this and go to the city card, and at the top we will have a type props and then this city object, and I'm going to pass it here as a props. and import the city. Now if I hit save and if I go to our project, here you can see we already have our slider working and we have the text city card. Now we have to build the city card. So let's go to the city card, and for the first div we have a class name of related, rounded will be LG, overflow hidden, and margin will be 2. Then inside this div we have an image and we are going to use nextjs image component, and here we have source of city dot image, then we have alt of image, and width will be 700 and height will be 700, and then we have a class name of rounded LG, then we have width of full, height will be 450 pixel, and object will be cover. Now if I hit save and if I go to here, now you can see we have our image and this looks amazing. The slider is working, so we can go to left and right, right or left, and next we need a overlay and then the text. So let's go to the code. So after the image we have a div with the class name of absolute, inset 0, bg will be black, and opacity will be 40. Now if I hit save, you can see we have a black overlay which looks amazing. Then next we have another div with class name of absolute, then we have padding of 4, top will be 4, and inside this div we have a h1 with our city dot city name, and we have a p with city dot number of properties, and here we have a text properties. Now this h1 will have a class name of text large, then we have font of semi bold and text white, and the p tag will have a class name of text gray 200. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have the text, the Miami 70 properties, and the slider is also working, so everything looks like this one, and you can see we have the sliders works perfectly. And let me show you the responsiveness. So if I inspect, and in the mobile view you can see we have one slider and the slider also works perfectly. And if I show you the iPad version, in iPad you can see we have two slider and the slider also works properly. So our city slider section is completed. Next we are going to build the building features section. So if I show you the building features section, here you can see we have some card, and if I hover here you can see they have very nice 3D looking hover effect. Now we are going to build this section. So to build this I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder. So inside the home I am going to create a new folder and I am going to name it building feature, and inside this I am going to create a new file called building feature.tsx, and I am going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I am going to add this inside our home component. So here I am going to add building feature. Now if I go to the project, you can see we have our building feature text. Now go to your building feature component, and for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, then we have bg gray of 100, and now if I hit save, and you can see we have the background and some padding. Now inside this div we have another div, and this div have a class name of width will be 80% and mx will be auto, and here we have our section heading, and the heading will be explore building feature. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our section heading. Next we have another div with class name of grid. Grid calls will be 1, and small and large screen grid calls will be 2, and in large and high screen devices the grid calls will be 3, and in extra large grid calls will be 4, and gap will be 8, items will be center, and margin top will be 14. And inside this div we are going to use our data, which is, if I go to the data, here you can see we have buildings data where we have id, title, description and the image. So we are going to use this data. So let's go to your building, and inside this div we're going to use our buildings data, and we're going to map through the array of object. We'll get a individual building object, and then we're going to return, and here I'm going to return a div, and the key will be building dot id, and inside this div I'm going to create another component for the card. So here I'm going to create a building feature card.tsx. I'm going to use rfc to create the component boilerplate, and then for every building object we are going to show a building feature card, and we are going to pass a props which is building, and the prop will be building object. And if I hit save, and now we have to give this a proper type, so I'm going to hover here and it will give us the suggestion. So let's copy this and go to the building feature card, and here we have type props, and the props will be building, which is an object that contains id, title, description and image. And here we're going to pass our props and we'll get the building data. Now if I hit save, as you can see we have our building card text here. Now we are going to start building this card. So for this, the first div have a class name of rounded lg. So before that, what we need, if I go to the deployed version, you see they have this beautiful 3D type hover effect. So to build this, we are going to use a npm package, and the npm package is react parallax tilt. And if I go to their npm package, you can read more, you can see the demo. So they have the details, documentation, you can learn more. So I am just going to copy this npm script, and then I'm going to paste it in our project to install the react parallax tilt. Now let's go here. So we just need to import the tilt from react parallax tilt, and then we are going to use the tilt. So copy this, and at the top We are going to paste it here, and also we are going to make this a client component using yours client. Now if I hit save, and here instead of this div we are going to use that tilt. So we are going to use this tilt, and the tilt will have a class name. So the class name will be rounded lg, and shadow will be medium, padding will be 4, background will be white. Now let's say here the text building feature card. Now if I hit save, and if I go to our project, here you can see we have the card, and if I hover you can see the 3D looking hover effect, which looks amazing. Now let's complete this feature card. So inside this tilt we have another div with class name of width will be 16, height will be 16, margin left will be auto, it will be flex, item center, justify will be center, flex will be in the column direction, bg will be gray 100, rounded will be full, and inside this we have an image which is coming from next image. So next image, and the source will be building dot image, the alt will be building dot title, and the width will be 40 and height will be 40. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have this beautiful icon, and you can see the hover effect also. Next we have this text information. So let's go here. So after this div we have another div with class name of padding 2, and then inside this div we have a p tag, and at the first we have a 0, and here we have building dot id, and this p tag will have a class name of margin top of 6, text will be red 600, then font will be bold, and finally text will be extra large. Then we have another p tag with building dot title, and then we have another p tag with building dot description. Now for the first p tag we have a class name of text large, text will be gray 700, font will be bold, and margin top will be 2, margin bottom will be 2. And for the second one we have a class name of text small, opacity will be 70, and text gray will be 700. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and here you can see we have our information, the text content, and it looks very nice. We have the hover effect, and we have the icon, and everything looks perfect, just like the deployed one. So now let's check if this is responsive or not. So I'm going to inspect, and then I am going to select a mobile device, and in mobile device you can see it fit perfectly. We have one card and everything looks nice. And if I select an iPad device, It also looks clean. So our building feature section is completed. Next, we are going to build a client review section. So if I show you the client review section, here you can see we have client review slider, which looks very nice. And now we're going to build this section. To build it, I'm going to create a new folder inside our home folder, and I'm going to name it reviews. And inside this, I'm going to create a reviews.tsx file, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside our home component. So let's go to our home. So after the building feature, we're going to add the reviews. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our review text. Now let's go to the review component, and for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and background will be hash fa f7 f6. And then inside this div we have another div, and this div have a class name of width will be 80% and mx will be auto. And inside this div we have a section heading, and here we are going to pass the heading. The heading will be our client's reviews. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our section heading client reviews. Next, after this section heading, we have another div with class name of margin top of 14. And now inside this div I am going to create a component of review slider. So let's create review slider component here in reviews. So review slider.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside our reviews. So here we will have our review slider. Now inside the review slider, I am going to copy the slider configuration that we done previously in the city slide. So here I'm going to copy this responsive and then the carousel and the styling. So copy this thing and go to your review slider and paste it here, and we do not need the city card here, and we're going to change some of this. So what we're going to change here is the responsive variable. In desktop the max and min will be same, but the items will be 3 here, and for tablet the items will be 2, and for mobile the items will be 1. Now I am going to hit save, and then in review slider here we are going to use the carousel. So let's copy it from the city slider. So let's copy this part. So copy this, and in review slider paste it here and close the carousel. Now inside this we are going to use the data that we have here. So this user review data, where we have ID, name of the user, the profession of the user image, and a review. So we are going to use this review data. So let's go to the review slider, and here we are going to map through our user review data dot map, and we will get individual review, and then I'm going to return a div where we have the key of review dot id, And inside this I'm going to create another component which is review card. So let's create it here, review card .tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add it here. For individual review we are going to show a review card component. So review card, now hit save, and now go to your review card. Before that you have to convert this component, this review slider component, into a client component. So use client, and now hit save. Now go to your review card, and now if you go to your project you can see we have our slider with the text review card. Now we are going to build the review card component. So let's go to your review card. For the first div we have a class name of bg will be wide, rounded will be lg, margin will 3, padding will 6, and this one will be relative. And then inside this div first we have a icon. So if I show you the deployed version, so first we are going to add this quote icon. So here we will have a fa quote right, and this one will have a class name of width 8, height will be 8, it will be absolute, top will be 4, right will be 4, text will be red 600, and opacity will be 20. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have our quote icon. So next we have, so after this quote we have another div with class name of margin top of 6, flex, items will be centered, and if I hit save, and inside this div we will have a star icon. So fa star, and this one will have a class name of width 4, height 4, and text will be yellow 600, and we have 5 of them, so I'm going to copy it 4 times. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have our rating star, just like this one. Then we have the review, actual review. So let's go here. So after this step we have a p, and here one thing we forgot, that is we have to pass the props. So here we are going to pass the review props, which will be the review object. Now if I hit save, and if I hover here it will give me the type. So I'm going to copy this and go to my review card, and then at the top we're going to have a type props, and the props will be a object, review object, that contains id, name, profession, user image, and review. Now I'm going to pass this here props and import the review, and inside this p we will have review dot review, and this p tag will have a class name of margin top of 6, text will be beige, text color will be gray 600, font will be medium. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our review text, which looks amazing. And next we have another div with class name of width will be full, height will be 1.2 pixel, background will be gray 600, opacity will be 10. Then we have margin top of 6, margin bottom of 6. Now if I hit save, as you can see we have this line here which looks amazing. And next we have the user information, the user image, username and user profession. So after this div we have another div with class name of flex, items will be center and SpaceX will be 4. And inside this div we'll have h1 with the text user, not user, review dot name. And then so here first we have the user image, so we are going to use next image here. And then the image will have a source which is user, which is review dot user image. The alt will be review dot name, and then the width will be 50, the height will be 50, and the class name will be rounded full. Now after this div, not after, inside this div, after the image we have a h1 with review.name, that means the username. And then we have a p tag with user, not user, review dot profession. Now the h1 will have a class name of font bold, text will be gray 800, and for the p tag the class name will be text small, text will be gray 500. Now let's save. Now if I go to our website, here it's not looks good. So after the image we have a div, and inside this div we have this name and profession. Now if I hit save, now it looks great. Now we have our proper slider review card. Everything works perfectly. Now let me show you the responsiveness. If I inspect, and in the iPad version you can see we have 2 slider card which looks amazing, and in the mobile view, so in iPhone we have 1 card and it also looks very nice. So our client review section is completed. Next we are going to build the block section. So if I show you the block section, here you can see we have 3 block card with hover effect. So now we are going to build this section. So for this, let's go to the code, and in the home folder I am going to create a new folder and I'm going to name it block, and inside this I'm going to create a file called block.tsx. so not ts, so rename it block.tsx, and I'm going to use rfc to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside our home component. So after reviews we're going to have the block. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have the text block. Now let's go to the block.ts. Now first let's close all of the other file. Now it's look clean. So now in the block, for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16. We have bg gray 100, and then inside this div we have another div with class name of with 80%, and mx will be auto. Then we have the section heading, and the heading will be check our blocks. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our section heading check our blocks. Now after this section heading, we have another div with class name of grid. Grid calls will be 1, and in medium screen grid calls will be 2, and in extra large grid calls will be 3, and margin top will be 16, gap will be 6, items will be center. Now inside this div we are going to use our block data. So if I go to the data.ts, here you can see we have a information of blocks where we have id, date, comment, title, short description, and image. So we are going to use this data. So let's go to the block, and inside this div we are going to import the blocks, and we are going to map through it. So map, and we will get individual block, and then we are going to return a div, and the key will be block.id. And inside this div I am going to create a reusable block card component to show individual block. So let's create a new component here, which will be block card.tsx. Use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then add this here. For every block we are going to show a block card, and now pass the props. So pass block and pass the block object. Now hit save. Now over here to get the type, so copy this, go to the block card, and here we're going to use a type props, and the props will be block object that content id, date, comment, title, short description, and image. And here we're going to receive the props and get the block. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have 3 block card text. Now we're going to implement the block card. So for this, the first div have a class name of bg white, rounded will be medium, and overflow will be hidden. Then inside this div we have another div, and inside this div we're going to add an image which is coming from next image, and this image will have a source of block dot image. The alt will be block dot title, and width will be 300, height will be 300, and class name will be widthful. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have 3 beautiful image. So next we have this text content. So let's go here. So after this image we have another div with class name of p6, and inside this we have a div with class name of flex items center justify between. And then inside this div we have another div with class name of flex items will be center, and SpaceX will be 2. So what we are building here is this section. So first div will contain these two and separate them in justify between, and for the next div will have these two, and this one will be flex and SpaceX will be 2. And then inside this div we have first icon, so bi calendar icon, and this one will have a class name of text rows 500, and after that we have a span will be blog dot date, and this span will have a class name of text small and text gray 700. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the date. So let's see, so it's not looks good here, not blog.id, this one will be blog.date. Now if I save, now it's showing the date and it looks good. Next what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this div again, and the icon will be bi message, and this one will be blog dot comment. Now if I hit save, now you can see we have a comment text. Next we have this title, then we have the short description and a read more button. So after this div we have a each one with blog dot title, and then we have a p tag with blog dot short description, and the each one will have a class name of margin top of 6, font will be bold, in hover it will be underline, cursor will be pointer, margin bottom will be 2, text large, text will be gray 700, and for the p tag we have a class name of text gray 500, and text will be big. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our title and a short description just like this one, and next we have the read more button. So after the p we have a div with class name of margin top of 4, flex, items will be center, SpaceX will be 2, in hover the text will be rows 500, red 500, and cursor pointer. Now inside this div we have a span with the text read more, and the class name will be font bold, and after this span we have a icon which is bs arrow right. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have the read more button just like this one. So the block cut looks very nice, and it's just like this deployed version, and we have the hover effect. Now let's check if this is mobile responsive or not. So inspect, and in mobile view you can see we have one card and it fit perfectly and it looks nice. And let's check in the iPad mini. So in iPad mini it also looks very nice. So just like this one, and it fit perfectly with the screen size. So our block section is completed. Now we're going to build the footer. So if I show you the footer, here you can see the footer have 4 parts. So here we have popular search, quick links, and discover. Now we're going to build the footer section. So for this, let's go to your home, and here create a new folder called footer, and inside this create a file called footer.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add the footer in our layout folder so that all the page can access the footer. So let's add the footer here. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have the text footer. Now let's go to your footer, and for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 20, padding bottom of 12, bg will be black, and inside this we have another div with class name of width will be 80%, mx will be auto, we have grid, items will be start, grid calls will be 1, and in medium screen grid calls will be 2, and in large screen grid calls will be 4, and gap will be 12, padding bottom will be 8, and border will be border bottom, so border bottom will be 0.1.5 pixel, then border color will be white, and border opacity will be 20. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have this background and this border line. So next we have the first part of our footer. So first footer part. So first we have a div, and inside this div we have our logo. So I'm going to copy the logo from our navbar. So go to the nav, and this is the logo. So I'm going to copy this one, and then in footer I'm going to paste it, and we have to import this icon fa house. Now if I hit save and if I go to our project, here you can see we have our logo. So after the logo, so after this div we have a p tag with some random text. So I'm going to generate some random text, and the p will have a class name of text gray 300 and margin top of 6. Now if I hit save, so here you can see we have the text. So after the text we have a email and a phone number, then the social links. So after the p tag we have another p tag with our email, so example at gmail.com, and then we have a phone number. So I'm going to use a dummy phone number, and for the first p we have a class name of text gray 300, then we have margin top of 4, and font will be semibold, and for the second p we have a class name of text gray 300, margin top will be 2, and font will be semi-bold. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have the email and the phone number, and then we have the social links. So after this p tag, we have social links. So first I'm going to declare a div, and this div have a class name of flag. Items will be center, SpaceX will be 4, and margin top will be 6. And inside this div, we first have a Facebook F icon, and this one will have a class name of width 6, height 6, and text will be blue 600. And I'm going to copy this one, and the next one will be FA Twitter, and the text color will be text sky 500. And then we have FA YouTube, and the text will be red 700. And finally we have Instagram logo icon, so FA Instagram, and this one will be text pink 600. So text pink 600. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the social icons. And now next we have this second part, which is popular search section. So this is our first part, it's completed. Now we have our second part, and here we have a div with class name of in medium mx will be auto, and then inside this div we have a h1, and this one will have a custom class name which is footer heading, and we're going to create this class in our global.css file. And then we have 4 p tag with the first one will be apartment for rent, then the second one will be apartment low to high, then we have offices for buy, and finally we have offices for rent. And all of this p tag will have a custom class name which is footer link. Now we are going to create these two classes in our global.css. So let's go to the global.css, and here I'm going to use the layer component, and then add the footer heading, and here we're going to apply some Tailwind classes, and first one will be text large, text will be white, font will be bold, and margin bottom will be 4. And then we're going to add the footer link, and this one will be we're going to apply text base, text white, in hover Text will be rows 500. In hover we have underline. Cursor will be pointer. Text opacity will be 60 and margin bottom will be 3 and width will be fit. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and here our title is not showing. Let's see why. So go to the footer. So here we have a heading which is popular search. Now if I hit save, now you can see it looks very nice. We have the hover effect, and next we have this quick link section which is similar to this one. So I'm going to copy this. So after the second part we have the third part, and let's copy this one and change the information. The heading will be quick link, and then we have terms of use, then we have privacy policies, privacy policy, then we have pricing plan, pricing plans, and then we have our services, and let's copy 3 more time, and then we have contact supports. So contact support, carriers, and finally we have FAQ. Now if I hit save, so here you can see we have our quick links which looks very nice, and here this one will be in large screen MX Auto. The fourth part is similar, so we are going to copy this again. So this is the third part, and then we have fourth part. So let's copy this one and paste it here, and this one will be MD and MX Auto. The heading will be discover, then the first one will be Miami, then we have Los Angeles, then we have Chicago, next we have New York, and finally we have London. Now we do not need these two. So now if I remove this and hit save, so here you can see all of the part looks great, just like this one. And finally we have this copyright text, so I'm going to copy it from here, and then so after this T we'll have a P tag with the copyright text and a class name of text will be center, margin top will be 4, text will be base, text color will be white, and opacity will be 70. Now if I hit save, so now you can see our copyright text, we have our links, and everything looks perfect just like this one. And now let me show you the responsiveness. So if I inspect, and in the iPad mini you can see it looks very nice. We have two footer part side by side, and if I select the mobile devices, you can see now we have one footer part, so it looks very nice. So our footer section is completed. Now we are going to implement the scroll to top feature. So in the deployed version here you can see we have a button. So if I click here it will go to the top, and you can see initially it's hidden, but when I start scrolling some distance it will appear. Now we are going to build this feature. So to build this I am going to create a new file inside the helper folder, and I am going to name it scroll to top .tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside the layout folder after the footer so that all the page will have the access to this scroll to top feature. Now if I hit save, now let's go to the scroll to top and first convert this into a client component using use client, and then declare a state variable here. So const is visible and set is visible, and initially we are not going to show it, so it will be hidden, so the default will be false. And then here we are going to use a use effect hooks, and the dependency array will be empty, and inside this I'm going to create a function which is toggle visibility, and this one will be an arrow function, and inside this we are going to check. So if window dot scroll in y direction is greater than 300, so if we scroll 300 pixel, then we are going to set our is variable is visible to true, and if and if the window dot scroll y is less than 300, we are going to set our is visible to false. Now in the windows dot add event listener, so in the window we are going to add event listener, and it will listen for the scroll event, and in the scroll we are going to add this toggle visibility. So now it will check if we scroll 300 pixel, it will set the is visible true, otherwise it will set the is visible to false. And next I'm going to create a function that will trigger the button click. So when you click the button it will go to the top. So this one will be const scroll to top, and this one will be an arrow function, and here we're going to use window dot scroll to, and we're going to scroll to the top, so top will be 0, and the behavior will be smooth. Now if I hit save, and now we're going to design the button. So for the first div we have a class name of fixed, bottom will be 4, and we're going to add a animate pulse which is Tailwind CSS built-in animation, and right will be 2, and inside this we're going to check if is visible is true, and then we're going to show the button, and inside this button we'll have a arrow icon, so fa arrow up, and the button will have a class name of bg rows 700 text will be white, rounded full, width 12, height 12, flex, items will be center, justify center, and in focus outline will be none. Now if I hit save, and in the buttons on click, we're going to run our scroll to top function. Now if I hit save, and if I go to our project, and let's go to the top and refresh the page, and if I start scrolling, you can see we have the button. So if I click here, it will go to the top. So initially it's hidden, and when I start scrolling, it's show up. And if I click here, it will go to the top with smooth animation. So our scroll to top functionality is completed. Now we are going to add some scroll animation to make our website more attractive. So let me show you the animation in the deployed version. So if I reload the page, you can see the animation, and if I start scrolling, you can see the scroll animation. So now we are going to add this type of scroll animation in our project. So for the animation, I am going to use a npm package which is AOS animation on scroll. So if I go to their GitHub page, here you can see they have different types of animation like fade, fade down, fade right, fade left, fade up right, and all of this flip, zoom. And the cool thing is you just need to add this data AOS and then the animation name to your div, and it will do all of the work. It will add the scroll animation to that div. So we are going to use this package in our project to make the scroll animation. Now I'm going to go there GitHub, and here I'm going to copy their npm script. So copy this npm install dash dash save aos at the rate later. So copy this and paste it in your terminal and hit enter. It will install the AOS in our project. Next, I'm going to configure the AOS in our home.tsx file. So this is the main file where we are going to configure our AOS. So if I go to their GitHub page, you can learn more about the packages. Here you can see they have the configuration, how you can configure. They have the details, documentation of how to use it properly. If you want, you can learn more. So first I am going to import these two lines. So AOS from AOS and the styling. So copy these two and paste it here. And then here you can see it complain because we need to install the corresponding type. So just copy this npm I dash dash save dash type and at the rate type slash AOS and paste it here and hit enter. It will install the proper type for the AOS. Next, what I am going to do is I am going to make this a client component using use client, and then we are going to use effect inside our home to initialize AOS. So we are going to use effect, and the dependency array will be empty, and inside this I'm going to create a function called init AOS, and this one will be an async function, and inside this we are going to await import AOS. So this here we don't have the, so then after this we have AOS dot init. So we are going to initialize AOS and we are going to pass some properties. So first one we are pass here is duration. The duration will be 1000 millisecond, means 1 second, and then we have easing, and this one will be ease. Then we have once will be true, and finally we have anchor placement, and this one will be top bottom. Now if I hit save, and then we have to call this function, so I'm going to call it init aos, and that's it. Our initialization is done. Now we're going to add animation. So first go to the hero and hero.tsx, and then first we're going to add the animation in our h1. So here we are going to use data-aos, and we are going to apply a fade left animation. And next we are going to add animation for the second h1, and this one will be data-aos and fade right. And here we are going to add some delay. So first the first h1 will be animate, and then after a short delay the second h1 will animate. So that's why we are going to use data-aos delay, and we are going to add 150 millisecond. So I'm going to copy this, and for the p I'm going to paste the animation, and this one we're going to add fade up, and the delay will be 300 millisecond. And then for the search box we are going to add zoom in, and the delay will be 450 milliseconds. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I reload the page, you can see the beautiful animation. This looks very nice. Next we are going to add animation to our apartment types card. So for this, go to the apartment type component. So here apartment type, and here you can see we have a div, and here we are mapping through the apartment type data, and we get a type. And another thing we get here is the indexes, and the array indexes start with 0 and go to the length of the apartment type data -1. So what I'm going to do is, for the first div here I'm going to use data-aos, and this one will be zoom in. So all the card will have this zoom in animation, but now the problem is all of them will appear at the same time, which not look good. So we have to add a delay. So here how we can add a delay. So we are going to use data-aos delay, and we are going to dynamically add delay here. So here we are going to use the index, and we are going to multiply it with 150. Now what will happen is, for the first element the index I will be 0, and 0 will multiply with 150, and the delay will be 0. So for the first element we do not apply any delay, but for the second element the value of I will be 1, and 1 will multiply with 150, and the second element will have a delay of 150 milliseconds. The third element will have an index of 2, and 2 will multiply with 150, and the third element will get a 300 millisecond of delay. That's the logic here, to add a delay for every card element. Then we are going to add another property here, which is data-aos-anchor-placement, and for this one we are going to use top center. Now if I hit save, and if I go to our project, and if I reload the page, you can see the initial animation of our project. And then if I start scrolling, you can see the apartment types animation, which looks amazing. So let me show you again. So if I refresh the page, the initial animation, and then we have this apartment type animation. Nice. Next we are going to add animation to our discover properties section. So let's go to the discover properties. So go to the properties section. So before going there, just copy this one so we can use this. So copy this thing and then go to the properties, and then here we are going to use the same logic. So we are going to use I, and we're going to add the animation, and here we are going to use fade up. So the animation will be fade up, and everything will be same. We want the same type of delay logic, and the anchor placement will be top center. Now if I go here and if I reload the page, you can see the initial animation. If I start scrolling, the apartment type animation, then we have this property type animation, which looks amazing. Next we are going to add animation to our building feature. So let's go here and go to the building feature, and here we are going to use the same logic. So I'm going to use I, and for the div I'm going to paste the animation, and here we are going to use fade left. So fade left, and the other thing will be save. Now if I hit save, and if I go to our project and if I reload the page, you can see the initial animation. If I start scrolling, apartment type animation, then we have discover our property animation, then explore city slider, then we have this eh, building type, building feature animation. Next we are going to add animation to our block. So let's go to the block section, and here we're going to use the same logic. So add the eye here and then paste the animation, and this one will be zoom out, and the other thing will be same. So if I hit save, and if I go to our project, if I reload the page, we have our initial animation, and if I start scrolling, apartment type animation, then we have discover our property animation, then we have our features building animation, client review, then we have this block session animation. So all the animations looks very nice, and our website is now more attractive. So our animation is completed. Finally, we are going to deploy our project. So to deploy our project, we first need to push our project in GitHub. So I am going to open my GitHub account, and in the GitHub I am going to create a new repository, and I'm going to name it real state YT, and this one will be a private repository, and I'm going to click here to create repository. Then I'm going to open my code editor, and here I'm going to close this, and also I'm going to stop the project from running and then clear it using CLS. Now here I'm going to use git init to initialize the empty git. Then I'm going to use git add dot to add our file. Then we're going to commit using git commit dash m, then a message like initial commit, and then I am going to open the browser, and here you can see we completed this. Now we are going to add git branch dash m main. So copy this and paste it here. Then we need to add the remote origin, so copy this line and paste it here. Then we need to push our project, so git push dash u origin main. Copy this and paste it here. Now it will push our project in GitHub. It's completed now. Let's go to our GitHub, and if I refresh the page, you can see we have our project in GitHub. Next, go to the Vercel, and if you don't have account in Vercel, you can create one for free. Now in the Vercel dashboard, click here to add new, then project, and then here you can see this is the one we recently pushed in our GitHub, which is real estate YT. So I'm going to import it, and then I'm going to hit here to deploy. Now this will deploy our project in Vercel. Now the deployment started. Let's wait some time to complete the deployment. The deployment is completed. Now click here to continue to dashboard. And here you can see you now have a link, and if I click here, it will open our project in live server. So this is from the live server. You can see we have the animation. If I scroll, you can see we have our scroll animation, and we have the slider which looks perfect and works properly. Then we have the explore building features, and we have the client reviews. Then we have the blog section. So everything works perfectly in the deployed version. And let me show you the responsiveness, and you can see it's also worked properly. So now our project is fully completed. And if you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel for more interesting Next.js projects. So that's it for today. Thank you.